Alrighty, guys. Welcome to Learn, Grow, Do, and Repeat. The first ever episode here with Jamie Totino, author, entrepreneur, and international speaker, tradie turned business owner from right here in Melbourne. I'm your host. This is my podcast, and I'm so excited for you guys to be here listening in. For me, I was a tradie, left school when I was year 11, in year 11, so to say, and never looked back. I was only meant to be working over the Christmas break, just helping out a few friends, and then all of a sudden I really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is cool, making money, waking up early, part of the crew. I'm a man now. I go to work, I make my own money, I'm a tradie. I love this. So I never actually end up going back to school, never did year 12, and then began my journey, I guess, so to say, as a tradie, began that. And, for me, it was, like I said, 11 years in the game, and it was always something that I, growing up, I wanted to sort of be a tradie. My father was a tradie, my grandfather was a tradie, both grandfathers were tradies, and then it just happened. We had a lot of tradie friends around when I was growing up, so again, I just saw them doing that, and I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to get into that space, and there it went, and, as well as doing that, I had quite a successful career playing football, ended up making it to a relatively high level, playing semi-professional AFL for a couple of years, which was great, and ended up giving that away because of work. I couldn't manage doing 6 days a week as a tradie, doing 10-hour days, and then trying to train 3 nights a week, and then having game day on the weekend as well. The body just wasn't letting it happen. I couldn't recover quick enough. I couldn't get myself ready for the next week, and ended up getting a lot of injuries, and it just meant that I had to give it up, which was sad looking back now. I wish I pursued it a little bit more, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess. And on the back of that, ended up getting into bodybuilding. That's right, bodybuilding, got myself tanned up, went up on stage and struck a few poses under the bright lights. And for me, that really came about, again, once I finished playing footy. I was hitting the gym, keeping fit, and always exercising. And I would always see the guys in the gym, and girls as well, who were getting ready and prepping for comps. So I thought, hey, if they can do it, I can definitely do it. So I decided to give it a crack and do a few shows, which was great. It was definitely a different side of me that had to come out. Like I said, someone from playing footy and being a bit more, from that side of the fence, to then having to go across and get tanned up and put myself out there and walk on stage and, like I said, strike some poses in front of, a few hundreds and thousands of people. It was good fun. And then now, getting into business and putting aside my trade career, letting that go, and wanting to do something different, and, it's taken time. It's taken a few years to transition from that full-time tradie to now full-time working for myself and running my own businesses, which is absolutely amazing. And, recently I've been nominated for the 2019 Telstra Business Young Entrepreneur Award, which is amazing. And in 2018, I was actually nominated and then a finalist for the 2018 Business News Australia Young Entrepreneur Award, which is equally as exciting. And I'm just super grateful for that opportunity to be nominated and then to be a finalist as well in that particular award was great. And then to get that recognition is also always a positive, but obviously I don't do it for that. But it's just it's a sign to show, everyone out there that, you can come from wherever you do come from. You don't have to come from the silver spoon, or you don't have to have the background, the knowledge, the experience. I never went to uni. I never went to TAFE. I never did an online course or anything like that in regards to business, marketing, sales, etc. Whatever it might be, I never did any of that. I personally just said, you know what, trade's cool, but I don't want to do that anymore, and I wanted to get into something different. And I had to actually go out there and learn a lot. I learned a lot through experience, from making tons of mistakes, as you do. But then from there, obviously the ability to come back. And I remember I had this friend who is still a really good friend of mine, and actually a business partner now, in one of the businesses that I run. He gave me this quote. He said this thing to me, and it stuck with me. And he actually gave it to me at a time when I was sort of not feeling the greatest about myself, and I was sort of in a bit of a dark sort of patch. And I've always been that really positive person and energetic, and always bring that, be that one to bring the energy to the room. That was me, and I wasn't really feeling it through this period of time. And he said to me, he's like, Jack, because I used to be a massive reader. I used to read a lot. Definitely not in school. I used to hate reading in school. But then when I got into books that I actually enjoyed to read, that I had interest in, then I actually started to enjoy reading and listening to podcasts and audio books, etc. And he said to me, he said to me pretty straight out. He gave me a little bit of a kick up the ass at the same time. He said, Jamie, the hand that picks up a book is not the same hand that puts the book down. The hand that picks up the book is not the same hand that puts the book down. And when he said that, it was just like this light bulb. It was like, I get it. Like, it makes so much sense. And I'm sure you guys get it as well. You know, once you pick up that book and you read it, you get that knowledge, you get that content inside your head, inside your brain. You've got that forever. And it's not the same hand. You're not the same person when you put it back down. And that really inspired me and sparked me to get back into the reading and self-development and get myself back where I needed to be personally for myself. And then once I got myself right, then that gives me the ability to impact others around me. And that was a real turning point, which again sort of leads into why I decided to create this podcast. Of recent time, a lot of people have been asking for advice and asking for direction, and I love helping out, love doing that. And I thought, hey, how can I reach more people? What can I do to get in front of more people? And I thought, well, there's no better place to do it than a podcast. To be able to reach people all over the world, sharing knowledge, sharing content, getting amazing guests on. And I've got some amazing guests teed up. Just huge. I can't wait. I was in the process of starting this podcast. The first fear, limiting belief I had was like, who am I even going to get on here? Well, actually, the real one, the first limiting belief I had was, who's even going to want to listen to me? Who's even going to want to listen to me talk? And then the second one was, who's even going to want to be interviewed by me? Who's going to want to even come on here and be a guest on the show and share some content, share some knowledge, share a story? But I got past that, got through that, and here we are. I'm excited to get it all on the way and get you guys in front of these people and have you listening to these guys. I'm going to be sharing a lot of my past experiences and learnings, again, from what I've learned through experience myself, and then what I've learned watching other people. There's that great quote by what's his name now? The world's richest man, Warren Buffett. As soon as I said the world's richest man, his name just flowed straight after. Warren Buffett. He says something along the lines of, you don't always have to learn from your own mistakes. You can learn from other people. And that was something that I've always done really well growing up. And I think that's been one of the key reasons to amend to my success to date. And again, being at such a young age, having the success I've had, I think I've been really good at learning from other people's mistakes. That would be definitely one thing that if someone asked me, like a young person asked me, give me a piece of advice. Obviously some of the biggest lessons we learn are from mistakes that we make ourselves, but there's a lot of little things that we can learn from others, mistakes that they've made or learnings that they've created, and then we can implement them into our own lives, into our own businesses, into our own whatever it might be, to make sure that we don't make those same mistakes and we get to the result a lot quicker. So that's definitely been one of the things that I want to make sure I'm focusing on this podcast, and even from a lot of my mentors and people, the great people that I have around me, the social circle that I have. A lot of these guys and girls are really quite successful and have learnt a lot on their journey and have a lot to share. So I want to make sure that I can get these people on for you, get the right knowledge, get the right content out there, because I want you guys to learn as much as possible. It's what's called learn, grow, do, repeat. We learn, we grow from it, we do it, and then we repeat. It's a process. It never ends. This journey never ends. You're continually learning, and it's funny as you get older, and me now as I start to age through my 20s and get to the end of the 20s, I'm starting to notice that you actually don't know everything. The whole ego thing just gets pushed out the window. The bubble gets burst, and it's like, you know what? The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know everything. There's just so much out there that I don't know about, and I just can't wait to continue to learn. And you know what? As me sharing, as me getting people on, as much as you guys are going to be listening and learning, like I'm going to be learning too, because everyone's got a story. Everyone's got something to share. They've all been on a journey that they've had to, go through some tough times, and they've created their own ways of getting through it. And that's what I want from these guys to share with you when we get the guests on here. So, 2018 for me was a massive year for a lot of different reasons, so to say. It started off from, I think it was like the 4th of Jan, 2018, was just hit with, I wouldn't say devastating, but just news from, in regards to the businesses that I had, that they weren't doing as well as I thought they were. And it put me into a bit of a tough position, which forced me to actually get back on the tools and get back into trade. And at that time, I'd been sort of working full-time in my businesses for about 4 months, maybe 5 months, by the final last couple of months of 2017. And in the start of 2018, when we did a bit of a review, I realized like, shit, things aren't working out as I thought they were, and we need to make some changes. So yeah, it created again, the ego there had to come back. I was this tradie who left and started my own business and then working for myself and doing my thing. And then I realized like, shit, I'm gonna have to get back into trade because I can't survive this way. So luckily, again, always having great relationships with people on site. I made like 3 phone calls. It was funny, all 3 phone calls went to voicemail, but then all 3 of them rang me back and offered me work, which was great. So I got back into the game and spent most of 2018 getting the businesses all back up and running. And I love that. That for me, like that 2018 was a year that I grew so much. I grew, and I tell you what, it wasn't the year that I expected, but it was definitely the year that I needed. I needed that. I needed those learnings. I needed to go through that for me to understand, okay, cool. Well, you know what? It's not always sunshine and rainbows. This whole journey of business and isn't going to be as glorious as what Instagram maybe makes it out to be. And I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about right there. So again, I remember this one night in particular when the work I was doing was sort of running slow and it was coming towards the end. And again, when you're in the industry for 10 or so years, you start to see when the jobs are coming to an end. And then you got to like, okay, cool. Well, I don't know if I'll have a job maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I had to start looking for work. And I remember I was having a really, really bad night. It just wasn't feeling it. I was just feeling sorry for myself. I was down. It was a shit night, put it to you that way. And I remember waking up at around, I think I went to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I was waking up at 4 a.m. to go to site. And I remember waking up at like 11:30. I've just got to get up and I've got to do something. I couldn't get back to sleep. I was going to get up and I've got to find work. And again, at 11:30 at night, you can't really be ringing people asking them, do you have work? you need guys in 2 weeks. So basically I was on the computer for maybe like 2 or 3 hours and I researched every single crane company here in Melbourne, created an Excel spreadsheet. I love a good Excel spreadsheet. Had it all color-coded and stuff like that. Who I was going to ring first, who I really wanted to work with, had it prioritized. And then first thing that next day, I got on the phone and I rang every single one of them up. I think it was around 55, 60 companies that I rang for different types of work, part-time, casual, full-time, whatever. I just want to work. And like I said, I rang 60, 65 companies. And I think I ended up getting offered a job with 3 of them. And I ended up taking one. And that ended up being really good. Got me going, kept me going for at least, a couple months. But again, it was just that one night where I'm so glad that for whatever reason, I woke up and I said, hey, I got to get out of bed and I got to find these companies, and I sat there, like I said, for 2 or 3 hours researching every single company, big, small, medium, doesn't matter what size they were. I got on the phone to them and I started having a chat to them, and I obviously had to sell myself into these crane companies to get some work. So, during that time, again, when you're a tradie from 17 and working in commercial, making good money, I never had that skill never had that need at the same time to have to, manage my money, manage my funds personally. And I think that was a core reason as to why I wasn't managing the businesses the way I should have as well. But that, again, 2018 was a huge learning curve, and I'm so grateful I had that because it taught me to then have to count and monitor and learn accounting, learn bookkeeping, learn where money's going, where money needs to not go, where I'm spending too much money, where I'm not spending enough money, where's good money, where's bad money, where are my assets, where are my liabilities. I had a general understanding of what these things sort of meant, but I never really went deep enough to wanting to know exactly like when is it good and when is it bad, and when do I need to get shit done to make sure it doesn't continue the way it's continuing, and the way it's going. And so again, that's what I want to do with this podcast as well. Some of these episodes, I might bring in some of my advisors and get them in to chat to you guys on a basic level. What's PAYG? For me, I never knew what that was until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was 25 and I was like, what the hell is PAYG? I just thought that, tax, they just pay it and whatever it is, it just goes and the government takes it and whatever. I never knew what that meant, and I had been paying tax for 8-9 years at that time. So some basic skills and some basic knowledge that I want to get my advisors to share, the people that I work with, people that I personally use. I want them to come on, just share, have a laugh, give you guys some key pointers. Whether you want to get into business or whether you don't want to get into business, it doesn't really matter. Some of the stuff that they're going to teach and share with you is just good knowledge to know. There's no harm in knowing. Like they say, knowledge is power. At the same time, or having too much knowledge is great, but then action on the back of that is super important as well. Just a little side note there. So again, guys, 2018 for me wasn't the year of sunshine and rainbows, like I said. It was a bit of a challenge. And 2017, like going back 2 years now, 2017 was a year of growth. And, that's when I started this whole journey of business. And I look back at that now and like I've got this massive smile on my face. I'm just so grateful that I took the risk and I jumped in. Like right at the end of 2016, I made that decision, I made that commitment that I was going to do something different. And right from day one of 2017, I was just pumped. Like I spent almost 365 days of 2017 just pumped to be in business and growing businesses. I think in 2017, I started and founded, I think 3 companies and 4 brands just in that 1 year, and I was absolutely loving it. And you know what? Maybe I grew too quick, and maybe the businesses grew too quick, and but again, that's the learning curve. You go through that. That's something that I think I had to learn myself, and I'm grateful that I did. Looking back now, every single moment that things went well, wouldn't change it, and obviously there's moments where things didn't really go as planned, wouldn't change it either, because those learnings that I made in that time were powerful, were impactful. They're the ones that I'm going to look back on. They're the ones that we can tell stories about. And they're the ones that you get the biggest learnings from as well. So that was huge. And but despite all that time, and despite those times like in 2018 where it was a bit of a challenge, one thing I always fell back on was I had this great mindset. Yeah, there was that period of time when I had my good buddy come to me and share me that quote: the same hand, the hand that picks up the book is not the same hand who puts it back down. I still always had a very strong mindset. I've had that from a young age, and I think that comes from, from my parents and from my grandparents. I still remember, I've always had this mindset of always wanting to be better. And when I say better, it wasn't to be better in the group. It wasn't to be better in front of everyone else. It wasn't to be better compared to other people. It was better for myself. It was me putting the pressure on myself. I was competing with myself, and I wanted to be the best for myself. I wanted to be the best version possible of Jamie. I wanted to make sure that anything I did, any career I ever got into, sport, construction, relationships, whatever it was, I wanted to be the best me that I could be. And some people love that, some people don't love that. Again, guys, you probably know already that we're going to get judged, and people are going to like you, people aren't going to like you, and there's just not much you can do about that. There's not much you can do about that, and life goes on either way. Because at the same time, we personally don't like every single person we ever cross paths with, but life goes on. Life goes on, and that's all you can do. Biggest learning in business, a lot isn't going to go the way you want it to go. Sales calls aren't going to go the way you want it to go. Meetings aren't going to go the way you want it to go. Your website isn't going to look the way you want it to look. Your branding isn't going to be the way you want it to look. On the back of that, when I started one of my first businesses, Real Food Vending, did the branding, created everything, got polos made, business cards, vinyl wrapped all our vending machines, and then maybe like 4 months into it, I realized that our branding was almost identical, if not 98% similar, to another company who was also based in Melbourne, who did something very similar, not the same industry, similar, but our branding, our logos, our everything was so similar. 4 months into starting a business. So what did we do? We had to rebrand. We had to. There was no way that we could continue doing that. And especially while it was still young, I said, okay, cool, now's the time to do it, because I don't want to get too big and then have to try and rebrand everything. I said, bite the bullet. Bad luck. My fault. I had a graphic designer on board, but I should have done my homework and made sure that our designs and our IP were secure, and there was no one out there who had anything similar. But again, learning. That's all you can do. And I remember when I was younger, I think my footy career, the extent that I got it to, and the level that I got to, does go. It's funny. All my cousins that. And my brother were all very successful in football. We all made it to a very high level. So it must be something in the blood or something in the chicken that our grandparents were giving us. But I remember that when I was younger, like me and my dad would be out in the backyard of our house, and we'd be doing like extra training, both for footy and cricket. Like growing up, I played footy and cricket. So it was through winter, it was footy, and then through summer it was cricket. Like there was no break. It would be footy training finished, and cricket training had already started for the other guys that weren't playing footy. So I'd pretty much finish, put my footy stuff in the shed, my footy boots go away, everything goes away, and then the cricket bag comes out, all the whites come out, all the cricket training gear comes out, and then now it's cricket season. So it was pretty much like that for at least, 8 years maybe, just did not stop. Sport. And I love the fact that I did that. I'm grateful I had the opportunity to play sport. That taught me so much. It taught me how to win, and it definitely taught me how to lose. There's no better place to learn how to lose than playing in a sporting team. Because every week you go out there and there's always that chance that you might lose. So that was probably the best way to learn, any parents out there or young kids out there, go and play sport. Go and play sport. It's going to teach you to win. It's going to teach you to be successful. And it's also going to teach you how to lose and pick yourself back up and go out there again. Every week you got to just reset and go again and go again and go again. And you know what? You might be playing in a very successful team. Like our cricket, the team I played with, our age group, we played maybe like 6 years together. And in that 6 years of cricket, starting from maybe like under 12s all the way through to under 17s, under 16s, I think we honestly lost. This is not a word of a lie. I think we lost no more than 4 games. Now I'm talking there's maybe 15 games in a season, and every year, I think we won, out of the 6 years, I think we won the premiership 5 years, and one of the games we lost was in a grand final. So pretty much every year I played cricket, we made the grand final. So the team we had was amazing. We had such a dynamic team, and we all went to school together. It was just great. Like that time of life was incredible. And that led me onto playing VFL and then having an awesome career here in Melbourne. And I learning so much from the best, learning so much from the greats that had played at the professional level. Having the ability to train with them and learn from them was, again, just crazy. Again, I'm an 18-year-old tradie who's left school early, playing VFL, playing football with some of the greats, and pushing it to the limits to almost getting an AFL career. But again, looking back, huge learnings from that perspective. And I still remember this one story that I had when I started going, when I was in trading. I wanted to get a bit more experience, get some more tickets and some courses under my belt. Me and my brother, we did our Dogman's course, and I think it was a 5-day course. I think it was on day 3. So you pretty much spend day 1 just doing a lot of written work, theory work, bit of boring shit, as expected. And then day 2 and 3, you start to get out there. It's a bit of half physical and a bit more practical work, and then it's half theory. And then the last 2 days are a bit more like they start to test you, and it's all pretty much practical stuff, like out in the field. So I think it was day 3 on the Wednesday, and it was the first time that we all sort of went out in a group and did crane work, so to say, because the dogman is a guy who hooks up stuff and then directs the crane driver. And because at that time I'd already been in the industry for 6 years, and a lot of the work that we did at work was with cranes, I had a very good understanding and knowledge of what needed to be done. So I was already quite advanced in the course, but this was just to make sure that I actually had my ticket, just to tick all the boxes, because we want to do things by the book and dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and do the right thing, So getting this course and doing this ticket was all just about making sure I was qualified and certified to do the work myself. And then when I was there, again, because I picked it up quite well, and again, in my head, I'm just like, yeah, this is for me. I need to learn. I need to be the best. I need to be the best I can be. And I still remember that course. There were so many things I learned that I didn't know. And again, that's why earlier, like I said, as you get older and as you get more experience, you start to realize that there's so much that you don't actually know. And we're driving home. I was driving. My brother was in the passenger seat. And he goes to me, why do you always have to be the best? Like, why? That moment there, it became clear to me that other people could see my drive, my determination. And that was clear to me that not everyone is going to agree or want to be in par or on par with me and join me on that journey. And no, my brother wasn't against me. He was just asking. He wanted to know, like, why do you always want to be the best? Like, why? And that's when I explained to him, like I explained earlier, like, it's not about me being the best of the group or showing off or standing out or being the highlight. It's about me being the best for me. And again, me pushing me to be bigger and better and greater, to achieving more. And that's always been my philosophy, again, you guys can probably even testify to this, especially here in Australia, and it could be almost anywhere around the world. 25, 30 years ago, property prices were a fifth of what they are now. Even 5 years ago, the property here in Melbourne especially has gone up so much. Like, I think it's gone up like 20 or 30% in the last 5 years. I remember growing up, all my parents and my uncles and aunties and family friends would always say that, I wish when I brought my property 30, 40 years ago that I bought another one because land was so cheap. I wish I still brought land because land was nothing. It was all worth like 5-10 grand. Where now you can't buy land for under $600,000 here in Melbourne. And I remember hearing this all the time. And then when I was 18, I had the opportunity to buy a block of land, and I said, you know what, I'm going to buy it, because I'm 18, and what's going to happen to this price in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 20 years' time. So I bought my first block of land, built my first investment property, and then like a year later I bought another one, then I bought another one, then I bought another one. And I kept buying them. People were like, why are you buying investment properties? Like, why aren't you like just saving your money and like having fun and like traveling and going out? And I'm just like, I don't know, like all my uncles and aunties, all these people kept telling me that they wish they bought land, they wish they put money aside and they invested. I'm like, if everyone's telling me that, then there must be there's some trend here, there's something's happening, and again, that, at a very young age, I was quite successful just in the property that I built this massive portfolio. I didn't really have a lot of knowledge. I just went on the back of, everyone's telling me that they wish they brought land. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the one that's talking to my nieces and nephews one day saying, hey, back in 2019, I wish I brought land because land was $600,000 because now you can't get land for under $2 million. It's going to be a story to tell, and that's probably going to be the prices. Like, that's probably going to be the story. So I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy that said, you know what, back in 2008, back in 2009, 2010, I was buying land when it was $200,000, it was $150,000. And I was able to capitalize on that and get ahead of the market, So again, that's always been my mindset. And again, at the age of 25, like I said, I had quite a decent portfolio. I'd achieved everything I wanted to. I had the car I wanted, had the motorbike I wanted, had the house, had my home. I traveled. I'd been to Europe, been to America. Honestly, I ticked all the boxes. I ticked all the boxes that I wanted to do by the age of 24, 25. And that was the moment when, for me, it all clicked. Because I remember having this lunch with my nonno, my grandfather, and I was at his house, and he was cutting up some homemade salami, and we're eating some cheese and bread, and drinking some wine, and it was maybe like 11:30 in the morning. So almost lunchtime, but that was standard for him. He just drank wine with every meal he had. Homemade wine, obviously, of course, as well. And we had this moment, like this special moment together that I'll always remember. And he's passed away now, but I always remember this moment and this day and I can see it clear as day right now. I can see it clear as day. So we're sitting there, and he obviously spoke Italian. I don't speak Italian. He spoke a little bit of English, so our conversations weren't very flowy. They were just like very on and off, very short conversations. It was just a lot of guessing from my half, because he would speak half Italian, half English, and I have to sort of guess to make sure that I'm sort of getting what he's saying. I'm getting it right, and then trying to build a conversation on that. And then there was this one moment, and then his eyes sort of like glassed up, and he started to get a bit teary. And I was like, "What? Did I say something like wrong? Like I didn't even speak in Italian. I don't know if I said anything wrong." And then he's pretty much said to me, he's like, because at that time my grandmother had passed away already, and he said that sometimes the good people get taken too early, and you need to live your life because you just never know when your time's going to be up. And I remember sitting there like just looking at him, and those words of wisdom was nothing that was never what my nonna would sort of share, my grandfather would share with us, but he shared it with me for whatever reason. He felt obligated to share that with me. And he came to Australia and pretty much just got into trade from day one, and he did that right till he retired. And I look back at his life, and like he came to Australia with like nothing, with bags just of clothes and hardly any money, no family, no nothing, and he built a life here. He built a life that we have, that I get to live today, which is amazing. So for me, when he said that, that was the moment when I realized that maybe being a tradie forever, there's more to that. I don't want to do that forever. I don't want to wake up at 4:30 every morning to go to work. There's got to be more to that. And that's when I opened my eyes to different business ideas, and I thought, well, how else can I make money? And it was actually funny timing. This was sort of just as all social media was starting to become pretty big, and Instagram and Facebook, and I saw this meme, this quote, something on there, and again from Warren Buffett, saying that so many, whatever the percentage was, 90% of the millionaires or 95% of the millionaires had an average of 7 streams of income. I was like, that's really interesting. I said, I've only got 1, maybe 2. I've got properties, and then I've got a job. And I said, these guys here have an average of 7. So it doesn't mean that they all have 7. Some probably have 10, some might have 5. I'm like, I've only got 2. So I can see where I'm going wrong. But again, I didn't let that get me down. I'm like, okay, cool. This is where it's at. This is what I got to do. This is okay, cool. Let's go and create more streams of income. 7 it is. That's my number. Let's aim for 7. So that's where the journey began for me, getting into business, and then just wanting to create something more. Like I said, at the age of 25, had everything I ever wanted. And I was just like, okay, cool. Well, there's got to be more. There's got to be more to life. And I'm so glad that I went through everything I've been through. I'm so glad I had that moment. I was able to share that moment with my grandfather, because that was the moment that opened my eyes. That was the moment that said to me, okay, Jamie, cool. There's more that you can achieve. There's more that you can do. You've already been doing this now for 7 years, 8 years at the age of 25. There's more that you can do. You can go out there and do some serious damage. So that's what I did. It took some time to be able to get to that stage of building businesses and slowly transitioning from being a full-time tradie to then moving to part-time / casual, and then moving to no more having to go there at all, which is still sometimes I wake up like, okay, cool, where am I going, what site? And then I'm just like, shit, I don't have to go anymore, I'll do my own thing. And that even gets me so much more excited to know that I'm actually going to work for myself and like come to my office. It's set up my way, on my terms. And you know what, it's funny, I remember being a tradie, my mindset was all about what's the weather like, what direction is the wind going to be going, are we going to get a day off, when's the next RDO, when's this, when's that, how long until I finish, what's the time, I've got 14 minutes and 30 seconds till I can get to finish, 13 minutes and 30 seconds now. I used to count the minutes, count the days, count everything, look at weekends, etc. Now, I work more than I've ever worked in my life. I think it was last night I was here at the office until about 1 a.m, and I got in at around 9, so huge days, but it does not bother me. Then I'm up early this morning, got up at 6:30, went for my run, 10K run, did what I had to do, and I kept going. For me, this excites me so much more. I don't worry about the time. I don't even know what day it is today. I don't even worry about what date it is. I don't know what's going on outside this where I am. I'm just focused on what I've got to do. I've got my businesses to grow. I've got my life to go. I've got my amazing people in my bubble, in my circle that I surround myself with, that I communicate with on a daily basis. And that's all that matters to me right now. So, guys, again, I'm so pumped, so excited. Thank you so much for listening in and getting onto the podcast. I just can't wait to get out there and just share some amazing content with you guys. 2019 is going to be huge. So many business ideas and things happening and coming into fruition. I'm the ideas guy. I'm the visionary. I'm the one that looks at something and it says, okay, cool, that's cool, but how can we do it better? How can we do it differently? Where's life going to be in 2 years? How can we create a business that fits into that? That's what I get to do, and that's what I absolutely love to do. Get to help people as well do that too for themselves and create businesses and do some coaching and mentoring. It's just absolutely amazing when you can see that people's eyes light up. I absolutely love that. And again, that's part of the reason why I wanted to get on this podcast, to share content, get people, give people what that you don't really learn in school. I don't need no Pythagoras. I don't even remember what that is. I don't need algebra. Some people do. But for me, that was never going to work. You know what? Some of the maths came in handy when I was as a tradie, learning how to plus things and add things. But again, you know what? I got a calculator these days. I got the internet. If you need to know anything, you just search it. Don't worry. Towards the end of my tradie career, I had my phone out all the time on the calculator. I didn't have to try and count numbers. There was no more drawing numbers on the ground and trying to do sums and plus this and minus that, divide this. I was just like, nah, calculator. Too hard to figure it out myself. Just get the calculator to do it. So, 2019 is a big one, guys. I hope it's going to be a massive one for you too, which is why I want to start this podcast right at the start of the year. So you guys can get on the journey too. So I want you guys to engage, follow, tell your friends, share this with your friends, get them on board. I'm just another guy out there who's chasing his dreams, wanting to change. I wanted to change my life, and on the back of that, once I do that, I can change the lives of the people around me. Once I do that, I can impact the people around me. I can create a better life for my family and my future family and the people in my circle. But first, I've got to create my life. I've got to do me first. Because once I get me right, then I can go out there and change the world. And that's the plan. That's what I want. So I want you guys to be on that journey. To share, comment, engage. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about. If you've got any knowledge, you've got a particular guest you want to hear from, or an industry or a particular topic that you want to learn about, please, guys, let me know. It's been a pleasure to launch and get this first episode done. I'm super pumped for Learn, Grow, Do, and Repeat. You guys are going to love it. I can't wait to get these guests on here and have you guys listening to their episodes. It's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a laugh. We're going to go deep. We're going to get some really good content out of these guys. So make sure you listen in, stay connected, stay in touch, and I look forward, guys, to hearing all the amazing feedback. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, night, whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. Doesn't matter where you are around the world. Enjoy, enjoy, be grateful, and I look forward to chatting soon. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Take care.